Hello and welcome to Coconut Chats. I'm Shomita and I am joined by my co-host Surabhi. How are you, Surabhi?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And today we have a very special guest, Reena Rana. So the Indian community in Australia definitely knows her. But to give a little bit of introduction to our audience, Reena is the founder of Indian Woman in Australia. And before going to that, a little bit of her background. She has done her master's in accounting and finance management from La Trobe University in 2009. She has experience of working with NAB, Energy Australia, and Origin. As a dedicated single mother of a daughter, under personally challenged circumstances, Reena began to look for women in similar situations, and she felt the need to connect with them personally. This led to her building a network of women with a few numbers back in 2019, which on Facebook today is called IWIA, Indian Women in Australia. It is a growing 12.1K members group with an objective to connect with women from different spheres and encourage them to build themselves further and to strengthen them. So, yeah, this is not it. There is a long list, Reena, but we will go through them one by one.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. How are you, Reena? How are you doing
I'm
today?
good, thank you. I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah. So, Reena, so before Australia, where are you from in India?
Delhi. I'm from
Delhi.
Delhi.
Okay. Okay. So, what made you to move to Australia?
My cousin moved to Australia actually, and then that's when I had this, the thing of, that your cousin or family is going outside, then you also want to go outside. So
Yeah.
that was just something like that, and then I came here as a immigrant, like anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 It's actually good. Like
I
when.
came for student purpose. I came as a student, but then it was just because my family member was going out. That's the reason I came out. So there was no
Yeah.
other
Right.
excuse.
Right. 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 No, actually, it's always good to have family here.
Yeah,
That's a good
always.
start. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It has been quite a transition for you because you've obviously been there a while. Like, I just want to know a little bit more about your experience, especially in the Indian community in Melbourne, and yeah, and how do you feel that has
So
transformed or
the
changed over the
Yeah,
years?
so the transition from India to here. So when I was in India, I was a student. When I came here, then I was a student. But then when I came here, I came with my husband, right? And then when I came here, that is the first time I realized that now I'm a wife too, because then I had to cook food and prepare meals and do all household work. So
Yeah,
along with that, so I was still in that student zone, but then in between came the wife zone, and that was a bit shocking for me. So it took a bit of troll on me to do household, then college, then job. It was just too much for me. But then somehow, of course, we all managed, and I managed to. We got a permanent residency, and then I do jobs. I have, yeah. That's so. It was definitely hard. I did really small jobs like cleaning jobs and many other jobs like anyone else do. It was definitely hard, but then at the end, all you see is that permanent residency and a smooth life after that, which is actually not there even after that. So yeah, so
yeah,
that's how it was.
There can never be a happy ever after, is it? Like it's
yeah.
Never.
That's the
people
myth.
always say that there is, yeah, okay, happily lived ever after, but yeah, they don't show
It's
the struggle
never.
that it
It's
takes
always
for
Yeah,
work
that.
in
every
progress. Yeah,
Yeah, every stage you go, you feel like, oh, now we need to, now we need permanent residency. Then after permanent residency, we need a permanent job. Then we need a house. Then we need child. Then child school. Then second house, and it is never ending. So I feel it's never enough.
Yeah, yeah. So we have talked before, and we know that yeah, you felt the urge to connect to other women who are in the same situation, and yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Fluffy, Fluffy, stop! There's a dog going from outside. Fluffy,
So
stop. Yeah, sorry. So you added that part, okay?
yeah, yeah. So we know that. So can you tell us a little bit more about this journey?
Um, well, I when I was single parent in back in 2020, actually in 2019 when I was with my daughter was like 2 years, but then I did not had many friends of her. Okay,
Mhm.
I went out to the community groups to have, friends for my daughter, play groups, and
Mm.
that's where I started connecting and made a WhatsApp group. When I made this through till 2020 March, April, I realized that people around me, they all are going through the same problems crap I am going through or I have gone through, and then I know it's every house story, same story everywhere.
Mm.
And that's when I started this women group, and I was I was at the verge of becoming a single parent, and then I became a single parent, and then it was COVID, and then I gave a lot of focus on this particular group, and while supporting and helping everyone, and I opened up my story. When I opened up my story, that is when people came up and opened themselves. And
Mm.
COVID was, for some people it was really good, but for some people it was an eye opener. And a lot of domestic violence, a lot of job issues, everything was in mix there.
Yeah.
So that's when I started this group, and I didn't even realize when it became so huge.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a great initiative, and also like in COVID, probably everyone had gone through that phase where we don't have anyone to talk to. Yeah, how
Yeah.
long we'll talk on the phone? Yeah, at one point of time, you want a person physically near you and with whom you can talk and share things.
Yeah.
So yeah, so becoming single parent and COVID, that mix have been too hard.
It was
Yeah.
indeed very hard, being in a house with a little child, going through that single parenting trauma, depression, and then the very next year I lost my mother due to
Oh.
COVID back in India. So it was a lot for me, like really a lot for me. So I believe there are three people who are most important in your life is your parents, especially your mother for a woman,
Yeah.
then your child, and then your husband. So I technically lost the first and the last wicket, and I only had my daughter. So I was myself going through a lot of depression. It was a huge challenge for me, and I mean, but this group actually kept me going.
Yeah.
So the how much dedicated I was to help others made me not go into depression and come out of it. That's what it is. Yeah.
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 Varis, don't please sit down. Varis, sit down. That's okay. You sit down here. Okay, don't speak. Sorry, I've just got kids around.
That's fine. That's totally
Okay.
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ravi, you want to go next?
Yeah, I was just really keen to know about like what did you feel like some of the common mental health issues that especially like as a migrant and as an Indian migrant in Australia. Um yeah, and also yeah, just like the legal aspects of it because I know that you've been involved in some yeah.
Okay, so see, when we come from India, when we come from any country, we are already in stress. That stress is already there of moving to a new country. How are we going to move? What are we going to do? How will be the job? Or will we not end up on road? So all these fears are definitely there. But once we come here, then hits the reality, and that is when people, students, starting from students, they number one is isolation. And even
Yeah.
with us, even if we are in this country for so many years, we still have that isolation because we don't have family. um, Isolation is number one. Then comes to there's a lot of racial discrimination which we have to face, and that
Mm,
is definitely, even if at college, school, universities, workplace, anywhere we go, we have seen, there would be very few lucky people who haven't, but we all have gone through that. So somewhere or the down the track, we have to struggle a lot because of this racial, discrimination, right? Then comes the language barrier, which also plays a lot of issues. So all these things mixed together, gives you a lot of depression. and people don't want to go and take help. That is the biggest, because we think, oh, it's just stress. It's not actually stress. The stress has actually gone to a next level of depression,
Yeah.
which we don't realize. There is a very thin line between these two, and we don't realize it. Then I also feel that there comes an adjustment disorder, adjusting between the two countries.
Yeah.
Two countries of from India and Australia, completely different culture, different language, different. It's not like going from India to Pakistan, where the culture is more or less the same in language, but it's completely different. So that adjustment is very that triggers you a lot. That how do we are not even, and especially with the mindset, we can't be fully Indian here, and we are
Yes.
not even Australian
Yeah.
Australian.
You're like somewhere
Right?
in between. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know
Yeah.
which line we are. We can't understand their jokes, we can't understand a lot of things at work as well. And that is where, even if as much hard work you do, you still don't get the place where you actually should be. So these things do happen, and because of that, people have depression. They get dependent on sometimes medication as well, which
Mm.
is not a problem. But then I feel, and then because of this depression, isolation, then comes the family issues, where you don't have family to look after you, you don't know what you are doing, you don't have people to talk to, you are completely forced, literally you don't have any option other than just working day and night,
Yeah.
to raise your kids. You don't know the thin line between working for a, like that you bring your work at home, because you have got so much of pressure of moving ahead, growing, that growth. But we don't understand where that growth, that need of that growth should I that thought of that growth should stop. Now
Mm.
once you are home, you don't want to focus time, you think kids, we give birth to kids, but we don't realize that we have to, here we don't have grandparents, we have to raise our
Right.
kids, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, so that becomes very hard for people, I understand, but then they have to understand that they are kids. If you don't nurture them now, it's gone.
Mm.
It's
you
gone.
Mm.
know
Mm.
yeah, and then we'll cry, oh my god, then we'll blame the culture.
Yeah.
That's the Australian culture. That is where, our Indian culture is not like that. Then we blame the culture, but it's not actually the culture, it's us who don't want to give time. So that pressure of growing, of having two, three houses, of having business, big cars, all that leads you into so much of depression
Mm.
that you end up being nowhere, nothing, technically. you know that's what I feel. And in terms of family violence, when you come from a new country, you don't know the laws here,
Right.
right? India, it's very different. Okay,
Mm.
India
Mm.
is very different. You go and punch on someone's face and you fight on the road and it's done.
Yeah.
Here things are very different, right? In India, in families, you hit each other, and parents come in between, they sort out. Here it's different. So people who think that it is okay to be exactly like what you were in India, or
Mm.
expect your partner to be like what Indian
Ah.
wives or husbands are, it's wrong, right?
Mm.
And that is where we don't understand the legal side of it, because we think it's like India, and then we don't take help. We just do, we think, that superiority is already on your mind,
Mm.
right? And then going to the police, which is very further step.
Yeah.
If someone takes that step, that
Mm.
becomes a
Real.
big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Then there is no
And
going
then,
back.
yeah, and then when that happens, that is an eye opener for them. Oh my God, what is this? She did that. Why did she go to police? Then
Mm.
family drama and all.
Mm.
But they need to understand it's Australia. It is not India anymore. You
Right.
have to follow the rules. You have to follow the laws. Staying
Mm.
in the laws, if there is any issue in the family, you resolve that. There are,
Mm.
you can go for counseling, you can try and resolve the matter, and if it doesn't, then get apart. But
Right.
dragging that to
Mm.
an end where you just end up being in jail,
Mm.
that is where the problem is. So people
Destructive.
don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. And also, like, As you mentioned that in India people sort out things in a different way. We have our own rules. Yeah, every household has their own rules.
Yeah.
Uh, so after living in Australia for so long, what do you feel? Which way is better, or what are the pros and cons?
See, it is sometimes it is better the way we handled in India, because at least it doesn't go that far to the police.
Mm,
Because the family and everyone is there to stop and to tell what is right and wrong, right? But
mm,
when we don't have a family here, the only help we can have is from the police only.
Yeah.
mm,
So if we look in here, we have to, no matter what, if someone does not follow rule, if someone is actually hitting you, or someone is actually doing, is scamming you or threatening you, the only option we are left here is police only,
yeah.
right? I know a lot of people misuse it as well, but
Mm,
then they are less in proportion than the people who genuinely needs help.
yeah.
So I feel the laws and the rules here are made easier for you to abide by,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's easy, it's better.
Mm,
You contact anyone, there are clear rules, clear laws, you read them,
mm,
you understand them. If you want to go to lawyers, you go there. If you don't earn money, you go to legal aid. There is so much of help there. So
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it is so much easier in here than in India. In
Yeah.
India, more of less, more is all about giving money under the table and getting the case sorted out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even if you are the culprit. At least it's not here.
Yeah, I agree with that part totally. That it's quite easy to understand what's going on, and it's
Yeah,
quite transparent. So whether it's in your favor or not, that is a different question. But it is at least transparent. You can understand what's going on. But yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
there are a lot of people who go and fight their cases on their own. In
you're
India,
right.
you can't. Here
Mm,
you can, because you just have to follow the rules. So it is better in here
mm.
any day than there.
Okay, okay, yeah. So yeah, I will go to the next question now. So you have started counseling. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit like who are your clientele and how is it going?
Yeah. So counseling I think it's almost 4 years now that I'm doing counseling. For 3 years it was volunteer, and not even a year now that I have started. I've registered it and doing it. Earlier it was just volunteer people coming and taking help, and I was just all the time over the phone and talking to them. Now I did it because a lot of time people don't understand. Number one, I wanted to be properly qualified and know things in and out. That's why I did this education, and then I got registered. The other was that a lot of people who actually can afford, they also used to sit and take a lot of my time. Whereas I have a family too. People calling me late at night, messaging me or calling me. It was becoming too much for me. So now I'm not a single parent actually. Since last September, I have got back to my husband together after 3.5 years of being separated and divorced. We are together now, and I now had to focus on my family too. So it was another thing. I just felt that people who actually can afford can pay me, but who can't afford, definitely it's free service. And
Yeah.
trust me, since 6 months, I have hardly earned any money. It's all more free, free and free services, right? Because when someone calls me for help, I can't tell them, listen, you book an appointment and come to me.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's where I this is a big issue.
Mhm.
Someone said to me, you should open a call center in India and then ask them to book
Right.
your
Yeah, I
appointment. I'm
was
like, I
about to
can't do
say
that. Yeah. So
get
it's more of volunteer,
get your
but
Cherry to take the calls for you.
I know, but then
Yeah.
the most of the calls I get are family issues only. So I'm more towards relationship counseling. That's what it is. So now couples have started coming up, which I'm happy, because it is hard for men to get up and take the sessions. But I'm really glad that now even men are coming up and asking for help.
Right, that's really good. Yeah. Sylvie, you want to go?
Yeah, and have you like what are some of like the stark differences that you've observed with like working in India? Like I'm just moving slightly towards a different topic versus like in Australia. Like even it is to do with counseling. Like, do you think people are more open in Australia about their lives? Yeah.
Um, well, in India, I was a student in India. I have never worked in India in that field. Okay, my mother used to be. I've seen a lot of women coming to my mother, and she used to help them. That's
Yeah.
what I have seen. But then in India also, it was hard for people to come up because of the society pressure, right? That how do we come up with our story outside? How do we go out and tell? It's the tamasha, which will be there will be a lot of tamasha if we go out, and in-laws pressure, parents pressure, and they can't come out with their problems. So it is not as much, I mean, it is much better situation in here because the girls now, with the help of the education going around, with social media and everything, at least they know what is right and what is wrong. In our culture back in India, we are taught that, you need to stay in a marriage no matter what. Things should not go out of your the Delhi's out of your door,
Yeah.
no matter what, right? But now with the help of as I said, the social media and the education going on around, and the community, at least people know what is right and wrong, and then they're taking steps. Of course, here also it is hard for them to go, and why I think it is hard for them to approach outside is because they don't know where to go,
Yeah.
because they don't know where to go, and they want to approach, but I mean they fear that that people are going to know outside. But here we don't have that many people in our connection that they will know about us, so that is not the biggest fear. The biggest fear is where to go, what will I do, will my
Educate.
visa will be in a problem.
Mm.
So these are the kind of things which are problematic here. But then thanks to like people like us, I would say, who can keep their secrecy and when confidentiality, and then when they come to us, they talk to us, we guide them the right channels and all. But still it is hard for them. Still it is hard for them to get out of that norm that, oh my God, my marriage is going to break. Can I actually, that divorce word is so scary for them. Be it they would be in any problem, but that word is so hard for them to, even think of. But at least now they're more educated here. So I'm happy
Yeah.
that they're taking help.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, how does the cases usually end up after the divorce for migrant people? So, since say a man and a woman came here, they don't know anybody, no family, nothing. So, if there is a divorce, in your experience, what is most likely to happen to the woman in that case?
When a divorce, most of the women are actually not financially that strong, because in our community, finances are more handled by the men, right?
Mhm.
So that is one thing which they are most worried about, and then the visa part as well, if they are not a permanent resident or a citizen.
Right.
Okay, so these two things. So if they get divorced, then they definitely get financially struggle. They definitely financially struggle. But for them, even if there are different organizations, they don't fully give them everything, especially even if they have, especially when they have kids. So
Right.
if a woman is alone, she can still go out and work. But if they have a kid, it is hard for them to take care of the kid, go to the job, being a single parent, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is where they struggle a lot. It takes a lot of time for them to, firstly, that emotional and mental trauma they're going through, right? That setback, then the confidence moves, the confidence is almost gone. And then they have to look for jobs and look at the child, handle them, from the then house accommodation is a problem if they don't have a house to live in. There are a lot of things, so it takes a lot of toll, and it takes a lot of time for them to overcome those things and then lead a normal journey. It is not like very easy for them to just get separated, having and pack your bags, move to a new house, and then it is a little easier for those who are already working, because finance
Right.
is very important factor which they're scared of. So
Mm.
but then later on, once they are you know comfortable with their status of being divorced,
Mhm.
once they are financially safe, and then the kids, with the kids as well, if they're financially sound, they can still take off or work less and look after the kids. But it does take the time.
Yeah.
They go for counselings on confidence, they go for counselings at work, and all, and they talk here and there, to get that confidence and to feel that okay, I'm alone. There are a lot of other people. There is a
Mm.
single women WhatsApp group I have, where a lot of single moms are there,
Yeah.
and at least they know that we all are there alone, we all are doing it, so they get that confidence from each other, and that's how they just lead their journey. So it is definitely hard, it takes them time, but everyone moves on, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. I will also like to ask a little bit about the custody of the child. So
Yeah.
I was
since you
I was
have,
gonna ask exactly that, because in New Zealand it's like it's very equal in the sense like whoever is like financially stronger, with
Mm.
like the in partnership, um, they are asked to chip in more obviously than the lesser financially strong person. So how is like sorry, I'm taking over you, Samantha, but that
Yeah,
No,
was
no worries.
exactly
That's fine.
what I had
that's
in mind.
not
Like
how
how
it
that
works.
works in Australian law. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how it works. So, firstly, I mean, whatever we're going to talk is not a legal advice, okay? So, I'm not
Of
a
course.
lawyer,
Yeah.
Definitely.
right? So, this is just a general talk we are having.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, as per my
Absolutely.
experience, what I've seen is it's not always about who has more money. Or there's a lot of factors in giving child custody.
Mm.
If the child is little, if the child is a female child or a male child, if there is a domestic violence, who has done it more, if there is drugs involved, alcohol, there's a lot of factors which are involved when they take a decision of child custody. Then comes how many number of days the child wants to. The child has to be in whose custody. So all these things have a lot of importance. So money is important, but not because if the one party doesn't have much money, the other party has to contribute to the child's expenses, right? So it is not that. It is more of who will actually look after the child. That's where it is. That's where it is weight. I hope that answers your question. Sorry.
Okay. So it's more like who will get the custody, who is going to take the custody of the child, and how well they are placed is what.
So imagine if I ask you that there are two people, husband and wife. The husband is a drug addict, or the husband is very alcoholic, or this husband is the one who has most cases of domestic violence. Okay,
Yeah.
and then the wife doesn't have much money. So but the husband has a lot of money. So would you give the child to the husband or the wife?
Right.
The wife, but money
Right,
from the
right.
mother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
even if the mother doesn't have much money, she'll still keep
Mm.
the child
Yeah.
safe and
Yeah.
secure.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's how the court weighs as well.
Mm.
Money is comes very later, because then they're with financial, they help from Centrelink, they help from child support, there are other things. But then keeping the child safe and the mental health safe is the
Yeah.
most important priority.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And what
That's how.
happens in case like the mother wants to go back to India with the child?
So India and Australia doesn't have a tie-up of,
Okay.
if once the child is gone, it's gone. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that is where a lot of people go and put airport watch at
Mm.
the airport
Okay.
for the child. Okay.
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 Airport watch is where you let them know that that my child cannot go out without the permission, without both of our consent. If you want to
Okay.
remove airport watch and one party doesn't agree, then they have to go to the court. Okay.
Okay.
So if the parent, if both the parents agree, yes, people do take kids for holidays. But if one parent doesn't agree, they can definitely take the other child, but that will be illegal.
Mm.
Okay. And then if there is an airport watch, if you go to the airport, the child cannot leave the country.
Mm.
Right. Mm.
That's how it is.
Okay.
That's the reason. As soon as they get separated, a lot of people do put airport watch.
Mm. Yep.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and you've also recently started your own podcast channel.
Yeah.
And yeah, so tell us more about it. How?
So I kind of used to do podcasting within my group already for almost 2 years. I used to bring people on board and do live videos with them, like we are doing the same way I used to do live. But then I wanted to bring it out to the other people as well. a lot of people have myths, or they have got their own thoughts about me, that I favor only women, or I talk only domestic violence, or so. But these are not the only topics I have helped or talked about. So I wanted to do this for a very long time. I don't. There was some. I don't know what it was, but there was some barrier where I couldn't really do it. It took me almost a year to start. Right. And then now that I've started, I wanted to take it to all the communities, not just Indians, but to all the communities, talking about, any topic, be it any topic. I'm not fussy about any particular topic I would talk about. So, and I'm loving it. I'm always been a chatterbox. So, so it was a bit easier for me to sit and talk. But my way of talking is, I generally don't write things. I just talk on the spot. This
Yeah.
is how I am always. I don't prepare speech. If I ever have to go to a stage, I will never prepare a speech. I'll just speak what is in my heart. Because I've got so many experience in life. I think I've experienced most of the things. So that is the reason it's easier for me to talk about them. And when I have any guest on podcast as well, it's easier for me to talk to them, because I just do a very just a normal conversation, like we'll sitting on a tea in a house.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I guess that's what people like about me, that I just don't talk anything scripted.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
And
And
that's
so,
called Real Talk with Reena, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
podcast
sure,
name is
sure.
Real Talk with
Yeah,
Reena.
yeah, yeah. We would look forward to listen to your episodes, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
And so you are into counseling, podcast, and in the legal space. So which one you enjoy the most?
I love my full-time job is my Indian Women in Australia, right? That is my full-time job, full-time volunteer job. And after that, I like my podcast.
Okay,
I
good.
love
That's good
having
to know.
people talking to them. Yeah, I just love doing it. So that's what it is. Apart from that job, and we run a matrimony as well. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw
so
that
the
post. I was about to ask, like,
Yeah.
so it's called Find My Love. So initially, so everything I've started so far is with the concept of need of the people. So there are a lot of single moms who used to come and who came and told me that we have been on the matrimony website, and people have cheated us for 6 months. They dated us and they did not tell us that they were married. And that is when I had this concept. So I started with my team, Shiva, and now I've got Karishma in my team as well. Shiva is from New South Wales, Karishma is from Melbourne. I am just the face of it, but they are the ones who's running the show. And we have been quite successful in doing a lot of marriages until now. But then wherever people come and say we want contract marriage, it's a big cross from us.
okay,
We're very clear
okay,
on it.
okay. Oh,
Yeah, we
people
have.
actually did say that, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And there has been a lot of time, and people have been very arrogant, especially towards single mothers. And I'm like, I'm very angry on them at that time. And I just disconnect their phone and I ask Shiva to just pay them back, because I don't want those kind of people. This is not so that is the concept from where matrimony started. And today it's going really good. I don't advertise it much, but still we're doing good.
That's
So
very good. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
is it
we
like
have
just within Australia or
no. Now we are getting rishtas from Canada, India, and
Mhm.
yeah, all places.
Okay.
So they are the ones who take care of it. I have no idea. I do go through things, but then they are the ones who's doing everything. So hats off to them for being the
Yeah.
rishta wala aunties. It is such a tough job. Trust
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Yes, yeah. We have watched that show on Netflix. Well,
Indian matrimony. Yeah.
I know.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Love or love, it or hate it, but it's very entertaining. That's all I can
It
say.
it is, but it's very tough,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
because people pay such a small amount and they want the rishta to be there like straight away on plate. Rishtas, and then finding a groom or a bride is not like this. It takes
Oh,
a
oh
lot
my
of
God,
time.
that's too much. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be like, they'll show so much of, by just paying just a very tiny amount, they show so much of, that, oh my God, we paid you this and you're not doing this and this. I'm like, what do they want in this much of money? What else do they want? We're giving them service, we're showing them rishtas.
Mhm.
What else can we do? And then the problem I have, I don't know if it is a problem or not, but I don't take crap from people. I'm very blunt on face, that
Mm.
either you want this or this, otherwise you just go. So I'm like that only. I don't care about money. I don't care about anything because for me, I just can't take, crap. I won't take it. If I am wrong, I will apologize. The very first thing I'll do is I'll apologize. But if I'm not wrong,
Mm.
you
That's
can't
how
touch
it
me.
should be. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, then you can't touch me. That's how
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. I totally agree. Like it's a better way to live life. Otherwise, you have to keep thinking, okay, what I do next to please that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be blunt and live
Yeah.
I
freely.
know.
Yeah, that's
And
that's the
it's so
easiest way, I think.
yeah, and it's so hard. I'm all the time. I'm like, like I said, it's a full-time job. IVA is a full-time job for me because I'm always over the phone. Like when you drive, you listen to music. I am talking to people. I get exhausted. As soon
Mm.
as I get out of my job, I'm on the missed calls I had. Then, my family gets tired at times, that you need to stop being on calls. But then it gets very hard for me. And I'm trying to limit it. I'm trying to. My team is there to support me. Kritika, Sangeeta, Shiva, and then I've got Swan. They all are there to support me. But then it gets very hard at times for me still to because people only want to talk to me. They think I'll do any magic, whereas I don't do magic. I exactly do what other people do as well. But I really thank them for keeping their trust in me. Um, that is very important because when I go anywhere out, they come cuddle me, hug me, and praise the work I do. Or even over the phone, I'm talking to someone and I help them, and then they'll acknowledge that how much hard work I'm doing for the community. That is when I get my return back.
Mm. Yeah. And Australia has got such a big Indian community. Like I'm like 12,000 members and just women. Like yeah, yeah.
It's 18,000.
Oh wow. Now.
Waiting now.
So you are really making a difference, yeah, to quite a
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Till now, I haven't even applied for any grants. No grants until now. We've done everything whatever we could from our end. There are a lot of places where there are someone was saying that why don't you apply for these positions in different organizations and all. I'm like,
Yeah.
when did this even come out? And then my friend said to me, yeah, because you are more focused on doing the work. That is the reason you don't even know then that those positions came out. But the people who are actually not doing anything are sitting on that position because they are all worried
Yeah,
about
that
these
happens
positions.
everywhere.
All the time, yeah. Even
All the
here.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
for
I have no idea about these things. Even my website is not updated because I didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
time and I really don't care about it because what is needed is I'm doing.
Mm. Yeah.
And I don't want to. I'm not. People were expecting me to stand in counselor elections this time, but then this is not what I am for. I don't think it's me.
But if you opt for that role, yeah, you can make more difference. Actually, you can do more.
just
I mean,
wider exposure. Yeah.
see, for being in politics, you need to be diplomatic. I'm not a diplomatic person.
Okay.
That is where I feel I this is the biggest drawback. Yes,
The
if
mindset,
I'm
like
not diplomatic, yeah, if I am either I'm here or there. I'm not in between. So
Yeah.
that is the reason that people like me, I don't think we're made for politics.
Yeah, I won't take names, but if some of the world leaders can be in their positions, you are far better off. You should try.
Not at this stage. I don't know what future, but I've recently started my new life again with my family. I want to give time to that rather than
Yeah,
focusing on
sure.
politics, because I feel if I'm not there wholly for my family, what am I going to do out?
Yeah.
If my house is, I'm very particular about my house. My house, I mean, I don't care if it's a little messy, but it should be hygienically clean. The food should be there for all of us. Even if I don't cook, or I have house help, or I get from, but there should be food. And I should be there for my child. My main priority is that. The rest, everything comes after that.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, okay. We will wrap up here. I know there is like a lot more we can talk about, but it's just
Yeah, I'm a chatterbox, I
the
told
time.
you.
Yeah, yeah, it's just the time that we have to be mindful of. Yeah, so Reena, so if people want to contact you, yeah, in Australia, we know where to find you, but for our audience outside of Australia, if they want to contact you, what are your social media handles?
So I am mostly on Facebook as Reena Anita Rana. So, and my website is www.indianwomeninaustralia.com. I'm on Facebook as sorry, Instagram as Real Talk with Reena now, and my YouTube talk show is Real Talk with Reena as well. So usually people contact me through Messenger. That is the quickest. On Facebook, yeah. So I have people have contacted me through Facebook from Canada, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. So I do get messages from there. So these are probably, just message me. I'm always there. I'll reply. I do reply to everyone. After getting their reply, then I'll decide whether I really need to proceed further or not. Because a
Yeah.
lot of scammers also message, but
Yeah,
I do
Yeah.
reply to
yeah,
everyone. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. So there be any questions from you for Reena before we wrap up?
No, I'll follow you, and I'll
Thank you so
connect with
much.
you on Facebook.
Yeah,
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 it was
Thank
really
you.
lovely knowing you and talking to you. You're definitely making a huge difference to the community, and yeah, we need more people like you.
Oh, you girls are there. You don't need people like me. You trust me. You just want to be. I just want people to be who they are and just do their work. And I think you all are doing the same as well. We all are doing differently in our own ways. That's what I would say. Whatever we can. So as um, I can't be a politician, but I can do this the same way. Who can be a politician is doing their part, and me doing my part like that. So I think we all are doing our part, and thank you so much. People have been very kind to me. I feel by God's grace, by people's blessing, I have come back after almost 3.5 years. I've come back to my family life. It was a huge blessing, something which I never thought would ever happen, so it's a huge blessing. When I go, I usually tell, when I go, especially through Air India, there are a lot of girls who come and meet me at the airport, in toilet changing room, or in the plane, and these are the blessings. This is
yeah.
what I've earned, you know
Mm, yeah.
so thank you so much to everyone for keeping that faith in me.
And thanks to you
Thank you
too.
so
Yeah,
much for
for doing
joining us.
this great job. Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Yep. Okay, and to our listeners, thank you for listening to us. And if you like our episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you already heard from Rina where to find her, and anything, any questions, please feel free to contact us. We are on Facebook, Insta, and YouTube. Okay, then signing off for today. Thank you. Thanks, Rina. Thanks,
Thanks,
Sunil.
Reina.
Thank you. See ya. Bye bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.